First, let's talk about it. Yeah. First, let's talk about it. 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 In the air, toast one in the air. Let's talk about it. Yeah, in the air, toast one in the air. First, let's talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about. Baby, let's talk about it. Talk about it.
Guys, so thank you for joining us to First Let's Talk About It. I have my lovely friends and just beautiful souls, very talented people in the house, virtually in the house, in the boxes with me here today. And I'm so excited for this episode because, I mean, hey, look who I have, okay? Everybody is shining bright like a diamond during this, pandemic. Ooh. So guys, how are you guys doing?
Doing amazing today.
Yes?
A good day. It's a historic day.
It is. We're going to talk about it. First, let's talk about it. What about you, Jim? Well,
man, I feel really great today. I definitely, I know we're gonna talk about why today is so historic. So I won't really go into it right now, but I definitely just feel a lot more lighthearted about the big picture than I did this time last week.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I mean, this whole past month has been crazy. We're just like waiting, it's like waiting on the text.
Right. Right.
What's it gonna be? Who is it gonna be?
Right.
Yes. So what do you guys think about, how everything is going with the election and everything?
I think it went perfectly.
Yes. That's a great answer. Short and sweet.
I think that today is a day to just, relish in the fact that there's a new breath. In our lungs, there's a refreshed energy, and we can celebrate this moment knowing that we still have an uphill battle to climb. And but for today, it's just like being at war. You see these war movies and they're in the middle of the war, but when they win one of the battlegrounds that night, they celebrate, and they celebrate hard, and then they're back to war right after. That's exactly how I feel today. Like, this is by no means the long term. I'm sorry, my phone was on.
No, you're fine.
This is by no means the long term end result, but it's a win. It's a win.
Yes, it is. We're excited. I mean, either way, I'm just excited for it to be over.
Amen.
You know what I mean? I'm not, I don't take it personal, whoever vote for, Biden or Trump. I'm just glad everything is over. It's being dragged.
Yeah.
Yes. So what have you guys been working on lately?
I'll start.
Okay,
I've been just so I.
You said, hey, yeah.
Huh?
What's that, Jimmy? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I have 2 singles that I've just finished and want to try to make my own videos for them. I've never really made my own videos before, but I really want to learn it. Okay. I have a friend, Phoenix Red. I don't know if you guys are familiar. She's an amazing Nashville artist, and she makes her own videos, and they're just Hollywood poppin', and she's just so talented, a quintuple threat. So I think about her, and she inspires me, and so I want to, I don't think it's going to be on her level yet, but I would really like to take a stab at making my own videos. and I've been doing the little YouTube everyday challenge to just try to get all of my songs on one place and just do, beat that perfectionist tendency and just do a song video every day on YouTube and just try to get it all out there.
Yes.
So I've been trying to keep busy doing that.
Yes, I've been seeing your videos, the videos you post every day, play music, covers, or, your own. So I really enjoy seeing those videos.
And you are just one of my biggest supports, and I just can't even tell you how much it means to me when you comment or just message me. It's like gonna make me tear up how much it means to me when you do all that.
Aw,
that's really sweet. You know what's funny? Me and Jessy, last year when we traveled together, and I was telling her one of the things I wanted to work on that year was keeping in touch with my friends and just being there more, because I know we kind of get like sucked in our own world, but I'm like, it makes me happy, and I see my friends are like winning. I'm like, oh, look at us, we're on the map. So yeah, I'm so glad, like you noticed that. I don't do it for people to notice, but I'm so glad. I've been working on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, you're like the most supportive sister friend like ever. You always find a way. I don't know how you do it, but you always find a way to just be so present and like just there, even in distance. We always feel y'all's presence in our lives, always.
Oh, that's really sweet. Likewise. I mean, yeah, exactly. Likewise. You know what I mean? It's always, you always got to be able to fill up, the cup of those who, fill up yours. So, it's always a blessing to be around people that's always thinking about you. I actually want to talk about that. So, and we're going to get back to, what everybody is working on too. So we always kind of touch on different things. But okay. So we was talking about this on the last episode, not with the guests, but afterwards. So how do you guys feel when you have like friends or acquaintances, because I guess they won't be your friend if they do things like that, but you have people that's just like MIA and you just know them like in the circle of like your friends, but you're really not friends. And they've been gone for like years and they come back and they're like, hey, I just got an apartment, but I need furniture to go in it. So, can you buy me, a living room set?
What?
Or something. What would you do? What would you do? I mean, no hi, no nothing. Like, if you was.
I personally, I don't know if it's due to my stank ass attitude. I'm just saying. I don't have that issue. Like, no. I don't know. I think that some people have a giving spirit and it shows, and some people have a giving spirit and it doesn't necessarily show. And I'm like one of those people where, like, I'm super giving, but I don't think that I come across that way. So I don't have people asking me for stuff like that. And my friend circle is so small that even if you've been gone, it doesn't matter. If I consider you my friend and you've been gone, when you come back, if you need me, no questions asked.
Mm-hmm. You pick up where you left off.
Easily.
Yeah.
And I love that about like true friendship. Exactly. But I don't have anybody trying to be no fake friends. Like,
exactly. And I mean, it doesn't have to be that big. It could be just like, hey, my phone bill or something. If somebody was thinking, it was funny to us. I mean, yeah, it was.
That happened to you? Somebody was gone and then came back asking you for money?
So it was like in a circle for like years ago, and we're not really friends or anything. And so they were just like, they DM'd me. And I'm like,
I probably would have given it to them because I would have been like, yo, if you desperate enough to ask me, then you must be.
Yes.
I probably would have given it to them because I kind of like that too. I actually had a friend ask me for money that wasn't really like a friend,
mm-hmm.
like call me, a friend that don't know my family, but I realized that she was like in need, so I gave it to her.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay. What about everybody else? And, this is just like Hey, no highs, no buy, no nothing.
It ain't giving nobody nothing.
What's up?
Good word.
I'm a people pleaser, so like I don't like to let people down. So sometimes I like really have a hard time setting boundaries for myself that I know are like really, really, really crucial to like my own well-being, you know. And so sometimes I think that I'll prioritize somebody else's like feelings, you know, and not wanting to let them down over like what I need for myself.
Right.
He does that, you know, even in his marriage. He does that. And I have to be careful because like I know that he's that way, and then we're both only children, and I'm kind of like a brat, so like I like to get my way, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, he's too nice.
And yeah, so I know we kind of just jumped in it because, you know, the conversation is getting a little bit juicier, but yeah, but first, you know, we want you guys to introduce yourself. I know I started introducing y'all, and then we just dive.
Jessy, who's Jessy Wilson, the famous Jessy Wilson?
Jessy Wilson is a child of God who happens to use her voice to sing and try to uplift people and give energy and power and positivity. Jessy Wilson is a wife and a daughter and a friend and a sister and an aunt. And Jessy Wilson is just a human being trying to figure life out.
So,
Okay.
That was a humble answer.
Yeah, that was really nice. Yes, that's why I just like I didn't even want to, you know, introduce them because I want them to do justice for themselves. I know they would do it better. Okay, Salmo the Great.
Hey.
Salmo the Great.
Salmo the Great is the official Instagram handle for Salmo.
Okay.
Salmo is a simultaneously a person and a brand. It's simultaneously a human being and a channel for stream of consciousness creativity that is developing and evolving on the daily. It's a channel for poetry, music, DJ experiences, and hopefully in the future different forms of social work and ministry, all in the direction of inspiring people through creativity.
Great answer.
Yeah, that was great introduction. Will K.
So
I just think I think when Miss Jessy started off by saying she's a child of God, I think that's just so important and really touched my heart. And I just want to let everybody know that may be watching this that they're all children of God, and whatever you understand that as or conceive it as, it's just important to know that you are so loved and that this world has problems and that it's you might say it's in a fallen state, as they like to say, but that we're so blessed beyond belief by a creator that loves us so much. And I think that really just touched my heart when you said that, Jessy. My name is Will K. I put the soul at the end of it just because music makes me really connected to my true purpose, which I call my soul. And I'm also super inspired by what we call the pantheon of soul music is. And I try to my best to contribute and honor the greats of soul music that have inspired me and continue to inspire me along the way. I try to do my thing. I try to express myself, and I could basically just copy everything that Jessy says. I love to use my voice to uplift people and just to let people know that they're loved and they matter, and you're more beautiful and incredible beyond your wildest imagination if you just have a little faith.
Okay.
Facts.
What's up?
Yes.
All those introductions.
Yeah,
amazing.
those introductions was amazing. I normally do the introductions, but you know, for you guys, like I just want you guys to introduce yourself, you know. But yeah, so I have my, you know, on my right here, my right hand man, Dundito.
Foundation.
Foundation Dundito. And then to my left is my guest host, my teammate, Superb. So he is the videographer, guest host, and he does it all.
Yep.
So yeah, he's gonna be joining us today.
That's awesome. Nice to meet you, bro.
Nice to meet you. Superb.
Yeah, I hear a lot about y'all all the time. This is nice to finally somewhat meet you guys.
I mean, we have to get used to it, so let's just call this
Nice to meet you.
Real.
Yeah. Did you have questions earlier to ask them?
Yeah, it was about the only child thing. So both of y'all are only children.
Yes.
What about you, Will?
I have an older brother, younger brother, and younger sister.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, y'all seem like pretty successful people, you know. So, how being an only child, both of y'all, what influences did y'all pull from? Like, who are y'all role models? I mean, y'all didn't have any bigger brothers or younger sisters or anybody. So, what was that? Who was that motivation for y'all to kind of take y'all on the creative path that y'all are on?
Ladies first.
Okay. My first inspiration was my mother. Growing up, I started singing when I was 3. She put a mic in my hand and bought me an amp and put it in the living room with a mic stand. It was my babysitter at the time who discovered that I repeated everything on the radio. And so she showed my mom, like, look what she does when the radio comes on. And my mom was like, oh, word? Okay, bet. My mom went and bought a microphone and a mic stand and an amp and plugged up in our living room. And she just began to instill in me the power of using your voice and just what an opportunity it is, and, you know, how to use it excellently. And, you know, we practiced. And so, I mean, and she really inspired me to reach for whatever it was that I wanted. Like she was the first person to put in my mind that anything that I can think of, a dream of, that I can accomplish it through opening my mouth. That was like, it was a mantra in my house. Whatever you want, all you have to do is open your mouth. Literally, that was the mantra. So I would say that my mom is my first inspiration. And then from there, many musical geniuses became like my inspiration. But I do have a half brother who I've always looked up to, who's an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I've always looked up to him too. So, and I don't call him my half brother. I just say that for, like, you know, so people could understand, like, he's not my mom's child, but he's my brother. So, yeah. Just didn't grow up in a house together.
Okay. What about you, Will? I think we're missing Jim. Can't see him. Yeah.
So
Here he
I'm
is.
here.
Okay.
So that's an awesome question. So when you just ask it, I had to wipe away a tear. I'm just so, sometimes I just forget to reflect on how much my family just means to me. And even when I do reflect it all the time, it's just like when someone asks me about it and I have to say something, and I just think of how much they mean to me. My mom and dad, huge inspirations in my life. They have always encouraged music and creativity in me, and have always told me that I can do whatever I want to do as long as I put my mind to it and put in the hard work. They've my dad has always been an entrepreneur, and that super inspired me to get my own, so to speak. And he's struggled with it throughout his life, and still managed to come out on top and always provide for his family while he was also pursuing his dreams. And that has just made an unfathomable impact on me.
That's really beautiful.
Amen.
Wow.
It's not a lot of people that can follow their dreams and also provide for their family in a real and like in a real way. Like society always shows us that the person following their dreams is also the person that's kind of like lacking and slacking in so many areas, unless you're like big and famous. But you know, to be an artist means to be poor and to be in your own world and to be irresponsible. So it's really beautiful to hear that you had that experience as, you know, your father's son.
Definitely.
Amen, Jesse. And I think that's so important to change the narrative on that you can be responsible, you can be married, you can have kids, you can provide for your family, and you can still follow your dreams. You don't have to follow that previous narrative of being irresponsible artists and stuff. And so, yeah, that was very important. My mom, I just feel like my mom is the best mom in the world, and I know I'm biased, and I know you all have the best mom in the world too. But she was just someone that I felt like only and always just wanted to be a mom, and she put just 120 into that. And later in life, became a business owner, which I just never thought that was in her desire. And to see her accomplish that through really mostly through intense hard work, but also really just like the quality of her relationships and how much people adore her, that like the business flocked to her. And that's just a huge inspiration for me, to just see that it was really her spirit that made her successful. And growing up, older brother, super inspirational. Just, he was always so responsible, always loved me and looked after me, and was also an entrepreneur and inspired me that I can, you know, use my talents and monetize them. My little brother, so smart and successful. And it's just funny how much my two younger siblings inspire me, and I look up to them, not down to them. My younger sister as well, just the most beautiful young lady in the world. And you know, we just all are blessed to have a really great relationship despite certain struggles in our lives. We have just overcome so much together, and really just have a beautiful relationship where we can all hang out together and have a great time and love on each other, and we just enjoy so many of the same things. And especially in this year, it has shown me really there's family, and then, you know, there's those friends that you consider family, and then really not much else matters.
I agree with that. What was it? Your question
Oh,
for Jem?
no, the question was...
Oh, Jem, you didn't answer that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was just listening. You know, role model is like an interesting term, because if you think about it, you're saying, you know, it's like a model for like a particular role, for like a certain, it's like you're filling a certain, you're like playing a certain part on stage or something. And it's hard for me to think of like any particular role models, because I've always felt like whatever role I'm supposed to play in life is different from anything that I've ever observed, you know. And I obviously draw from all types of influences. You know, I draw from my parents, I draw from my wife, I draw from, you know, the artists that inspire me, and then I draw from you know, pastors who inspire me. But I've never actually observed someone doing, like, I guess in order to have a role model, you have to sort of have an idea of what role you're supposed to play in life. And I feel like part of the reason why I created Salmo was to kind of create a role, because I've never really identified or even been able to visualize exactly what my role is in life. All I know is I experience these bursts of creativity, and I experience these really intense feelings and these really intense thoughts, and I've just tried to figure out how to channel those into something concrete. And so I feel like I'm still pre-role. I'm still trying to figure out how to distill everything that I am into a role. And I think that I'm still looking for role models, to be honest.
That's interesting.
It's real.
Yeah, that's a real answer. That's interesting. Okay. So talk to us about what's next. Like, what are you guys working on? What do you guys want people to know or to expect from you guys? Off of the screen. Go ahead.
Okay. It's a little near at the top.
Okay.
So like I said, I've just been trying to put a video a day at least on YouTube. I have these 2 singles that I've finished that I want to try to make my own, so a little video to them, and just, you know, dabble into video production. So I just encourage people to check out my YouTube every day if they need a little soul stylings and a little relaxation. And
YouTube.
What's that?
I want to see your YouTube. Make sure you drop it in the chat so I can check it out.
Will do. So
Plug.
Plug. So yeah, if you just search Will K Soul, it's the first thing that pops up. My website has the link to the YouTube and everything. So I'm just trying to put a little video on YouTube a day and make the videos to my singles and keep putting stuff out. And really what I'm just trying to do is just every day conquer the perfectionism and the anxiety and the thoughts that tell me that I'm not good enough or ready to be doing something, and just conquer it and just put some stuff out there for people, because you really just never know what, even if your song has an impact on one person, it's just so important for it to be out there.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so important for us, like, to keep searching and keep putting out music and because you don't know who is going to hit, because the only thing that stops us is obscurity.
Yeah.
You know, not having the platform or having the right audience, because you can have 1 million fans, but if none of them is attached or connected to you, it doesn't matter, you know. So I think even 1,000 fans would be good, as long as you connect to the 1,000 fans, you know.
I mean, let's be real. At the end of the day, we're all just trying to keep up with Don Dito's productivity. Right?
Just doing my job, man. Just doing my job.
For real. You've been working. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
I think everybody's been cooking up some stuff. I'm just like, 2021, I don't know if I'm ready for my friends, you know, crafts, because it's
actually feel
right?
like the opposite. 2020, like, just being real from an artist perspective, like from a creative person's perspective, and experiencing the ebb and the flow and how it's so deeply connected to your state of being, and you don't have control over what the muse allows you to experience or what God like allows you to breathe life into. And I think that my existence, everyone's existence, is like we're all in a perpetual state of creativity. And so like I consider that I've had a very creative year, but in terms of like putting things out and being in the hustle and releasing music, like I haven't really felt moved to do that this year. I've just sort of like been sitting still and allowing myself to not, you know, wrestling with those feelings of guilt for sitting still. You know, like this is the first time in my life as an adult that I haven't toured. This is the longest I've been as an adult not being on stage. This is the longest that I've been in as an adult, like not really like having, oh, I'm working on this, and then like I work on it for a certain amount of time and then it's released, you know. This is the first time where I'm kind of like just like floating and like looking around like, oh, wonder what's next for me. I say that to say I do have a single coming out shortly called Keep Rising.
Back pocket.
Called Keep Rising, but not because, you know, not because I'm trying to promote myself in any way. Honestly, like for the first time ever, I'm releasing a song that, I mean, it doesn't matter what happens with it to me. I'm releasing it because it's been a long year and it's been a trying year. And like Nina Simone says, like it's our responsibility as artists to put things out in the world to reflect the times. And so I felt that it would be kind of irresponsible of me not to have something to say this year. Shout out to my husband for encouraging me to like step into that. But yeah, so I have a song called Keep Rising that's coming, and it's a really good song, you know, and whatever happens, but with it, if one person hears it, like you were saying, Foundation, if one person hears it and is inspired, then great, that's enough, you know. And the obscurity that we're never obscure, because when we go to the store and we smile a certain way at our checkout clerk, like we created a moment in time for someone else, and you never know how that smile impacted them on that day. So I think that what I want to, a part of like what I feel like how I want to minister to other artists eventually, or just through living, I don't know how it will look, it's just like to rid ourselves of the pressure and the guilt that comes with, you know, this society that says that we have to grind. Like everybody knows that creativity, that's not us. Like we're just vessels. So when you squeeze something tight, what you do is you cut off the airflow. And I think that when we're always pushing and grinding and it becomes so egocentric, how can we really truly allow like what like the universe wants to say through us? If we're so focused on how we got to get it and how we got to get to the next level and how visible we want to be, what about what the universe was to use us for? And so I'm trying to find the balance in that, you know, like making use of this short time that I have here on earth, but also realizing that I'm a small, minute part of this like beautiful mosaic, and the universe doesn't need me to do anything. It's already doing it, and I'm just being used as a vessel.
Amen.
Deep.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that, because this week I was talking to someone, and they mentioned they just want to go, like, you know, in the country, set up a tent for 365 days by themselves, and they're an artist. So I was like, wow, that's interesting. The whole year by yourself. Wow. And you know, it's interesting you mentioned that. So yeah, I can see, you know, how a lot of artists might feel that.
I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that. I think that, you know, if people can see this, I don't know, but we live in an RV right now. We live by the lake. I'm looking out at the lake right now, watching kids.
It's nice.
Congratulations.
Nice. We want to come.
Definitely.
We've been getting jealous every time people visit. We're like, that's supposed to be us.
But I can definitely relate to that feeling, wanting to connect with nature, wanting to silence the noise of like all of this. I wouldn't say mankind, because that makes it sound so negative, but silencing the noise of this modern technical society and just like really tapping in to like the root, the source of creativity, which is like countercultural right now. You know, you look at artists like, you know, one of Jim's heroes, Virgil Abloh, and his whole artistic offering, his style is all about tapping into like the medium of like society. It's all about society. So to each his own, but I definitely can relate to wanting to get in the quiet and like hear from myself.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like that's the opposite for me. I don't know. I feel like this is a weird time. I like being around people, so like, it's like my main thing. I'm always seeking to understand. I seek to understand myself and others around me. So this whole quarantine thing is like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a Leo too, you know what I'm saying, on some zodiac type shit. So I like being in the spotlight. I like shining. I like being around. Like, so this has been an interesting year, nonetheless. You know, me being back in Nashville, I just got back here in February, so this Nashville from Dallas.
Okay.
So getting here, I got here like right when everything like hit the fan, like the tornadoes happened, like Corona happened, like so like I haven't even really got to experience what Nashville really is. And I mean, the Nashville I knew when I left is completely different now. So this has been an interesting year. Nonetheless, I still feel it's been pretty productive, though. Pretty productive, despite everything that has been going on. You know what I'm saying? You just got to keep that certain mind state.
Salmo, what you working on?
So several things at once, of course. I'm working on an acoustic EP, which I don't know. I think it's an LP. I mean, what's 7 songs? Is 7 songs an EP or LP?
It depends on how long they are.
It's an EP 0.5.
If it's 7 songs, but it's more than like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
But
it comes down to time, right? So it's a long play. What is the
all
E?
good songs are like 7 minutes.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So
that's
Kanye's cycle of 7-song albums last year, like that Kids See Ghost album is like 21 minutes long.
Yeah.
But it's called an LP.
Yes.
Really?
Oh wow.
That's the best. How many minutes is that you said?
It's like 21, 24, something like that. It's super short.
Those 20 whatever minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. I might have the time wrong, but I also know that like I know that, you know, nowadays like 2-minute, 3-minute songs is the thing. Like I have like 7 songs, but they're like kind of long. They're like 3 to 5 minutes. So I guess it's an LP, but yeah, so I'm working on that, and the songs are written. I just have to record them, and I think I want to record them in kind of a real like demo style, you know, just sort of like sort of earthy tape recorder type, you know, field recording type vibe, you know. And I also think that like kind of building it around that sonic also will make it easier for me to just release the songs, you know, for the songs themselves, and not worry too much about the bells and whistles, because as soon as I get into Logic, then like I'll just get all tangled up in there trying to like, you know, play with all the possibilities. So the bottom line for me, I think what I've gotten to the root of for myself is I have some really good. I need to just be willing to let the songs speak for themselves, and you know, it's okay. I can play with bells and whistles for the rest of my life, but I don't need to spend all this time trying to like build up these huge symphonic versions of the songs. Let me just get my songwriting out there. Let me just at least do that. And then I can build on that. Like, but I just got to plant the seeds. And at 32 years old, more than ever, I just feel the urgency of like, kind of like that gardener that just has like these really good seeds. And like, I feel like I finally found the right soil to plant the seeds in. And so I just want to plant the seeds and like nurture that garden. And it can be a small garden, it could be a big garden, but I'm just ready to have a garden.
I like that. I'm just ready to have a garden.
and so like I'm just ready to have that garden so that like when people come over to my house, I can be like, look, see, this is like my mustard seed, you know, this like growing into a mustard bush, I guess, mustard tree.
Not a bush.
A mustard plant. Just a mustard pack. I also have so that's what I'm working on musically. I also launched a Patreon, which if you're not too familiar with Patreon, it's a great platform for creatives who just kind of want to create sort of like an archive of a blog style archive of stuff that you're working on. So I have a lot of works in progress on my Patreon, and people who subscribe to my Patreon are able to kind of like see unfinished poems, unfinished songs, hear demos of songs, you know, just kind of like, it's sort of like the catch-all for all of my works in progress. One of my favorite novelists, James Joyce, he was like in Dublin, Ireland in like the 1930s, and his really, really historic novel, Ulysses, he was like releasing in like underground magazines and newspapers entitled A Work in Progress. And each time he finished a new section, he would just publish that section. Wow. And so he was like basically inventing this whole new literary style, but he was like spoon feeding it to the people and like gaining a following that way. And so by the time he finished it, he already had a whole bunch of people who were excited to like read the completed work. And when he finished it, he changed the name from Work in Progress to Ulysses and made history. So I feel like I've wanted to embrace this concept of kind of like pulling back the curtain on the process. You know, I feel like it's as much about the journey to where we're going as it is where we're going. And I feel like so much of the artistry is built into the process itself. And, you know, Jessy mentioned Virgil Abloh, and, you know, so many of the people I feel like who are making waves in all different dimensions of creativity right now are the people who are most transparent about their process. And I think I think people are really hungry for that. People are hungry for content, but people are also hungry for the process that leads to the content. And so that's what I'm trying to show people how I'm getting to where I'm going as well.
Okay. Keep living life fantastic.
That's dope, man. Now I feel like people don't want to see you perfect all the time. You know,
right.
Social media kind of made that. Social media kind of made that the standard. But I feel like people do want to see you, like, you know, working on a song. Like I try to go live more now, you know, because I feel like I
need to work on that. I need to work on going live more.
Me too.
I actually want to live stream the entire process of my next album making, like from beginning to end. I just gotta make sure that it'll be cool with whoever I'm, like everybody that I'm working with. But I think that it like Will was saying, like,
wow, that thing
pulling people, like overcoming that fear or those notions or those thought patterns that tell you otherwise. Like, I think one of the greatest ways to push past something is to push through it. And for me, I've just really been meditating on like, what would it be like for people to actually watch me make my next album and see like all of the ugliness, all of the like, oh man, because it gets crazy. It gets crazy when you're making an album. So yeah, sorry.
Now, I would love to see that. You know, I would love to see, because I feel like if Nina Simone was alive in these days, or Tupac, they would do that. They would like, they was just that raw for people. They would, and I feel like you.
Yeah. Unafraid. They were unapologetic and unafraid. I don't even know if I'm like cut from that type of cloth, but,
I mean, I'll put you up there, man. I'll put you right in that same. I'll put you in that same vein of people. You know,
perhaps your affirmation will help me step into it more.
Exactly, universal.
Now, I was also gonna mention, like, when you was making the album Phase, I remember you was posting like some pictures or like videos you playing the piano. I was like, I didn't even know that. So people will learn new things about, you know, you that they didn't know before. So that's definitely like a great idea. Yeah. And it's fun. It's like, oh,
and like Jim
and
said,
it works.
You know.
So this would be after Corona, right?
100% after COVID. All right. I mean, maybe and maybe not, because we don't know how long it's gonna last. It'll be whenever I start feeling like I have to make an album right now. Yes. And until I feel that, you know, I just won't make an album.
Okay. So we're going to segue a little bit. We're going to play our game that we call Deep Diving. Okay? Yeah. So we're about to deep dive, guys. So Will, I want to start with you. So when you go on a date with somebody, do you wait for, you know, for the person to text you back after the date, or, you know, are you the person to text back?
It's a good question. Why text back? If it's early on, maybe, you know, something like, I had such a lovely time with you tonight, and look forward to seeing you soon, and then just don't worry about it.
Okay. What if they don't text back right away? Are you the person to be like, forget them, they're not into me? Or are you like, you know what, I wonder what's going on? You know, do you give them time? Because I have friends that's like, he didn't text back, forget him.
Yeah, so when I was struggling more with my self-love and confidence and just who I was, I definitely did stress about the texting back and the affirmation back from people, and now I just choose not to do that. I mean, I've really learned more than anything, and you know, you could say especially this year, that the people who want to be in your life will do, nothing will stop them from being in your life. Mm-hmm. So I'm lucky. I've been in with my partner for going on 5 years now. So, awesome. And I didn't get a chance in real life to congratulate you and Jim for your marriage, and just
beautiful wedding. It was like, I thought the wedding of the century, man.
I can't even imagine.
I was just like happy to be, you know, a part of it. It was amazing. It was such an experience. No, definitely, it was such an experience. We had such a great time.
Gosh, I would love to hear more about that.
Yes.
So just to make my answer short, I choose not to do that stressing about anybody who is not trying to be in my life. Mm-hmm. Number two, I'm not looking to date anyone for the time being, so I'm not worried about that. And then what was I gonna say? Number three, I choose not to worry about all that stuff. I did in the past. I'm not perfect. I try not to do that anymore.
Right. Okay. So what about you, Jessy, in the past, before? So when you first met,
I don't remember anything before my husband.
No. I'm talking about before you guys got married. before you got married. So you guys were.
When we met, it was instant. Like, we didn't go through all of that. Like, oh, is he texting? Like, we met and it was like full on. Y'all were there. Y'all know. Like, there wasn't really any like of those dating games. Yeah. There were no dating games. Like, when I met him, he invited me to his place that night. I went. We spent every single day. I met Roy that night too. I went, and after that, we spent every day together until I went back home to New York because I was in Nashville visiting when we met. I had taken a songwriting trip here, and then when I left, he invited me to come back and just spend more time, and I came back for like 5 weeks, and then I went back home for 2 weeks, got my stuff, and came back and moved in with him, and like that's just what it was.
Okay. Isn't that amazing?
There's really no like, we wasn't. I mean, I'm just speaking for me. I knew from the moment that I saw Jim that I was supposed to be with him. So
that is so sweet. You're gonna make me cry. I know. And you guys are such a beautiful couple, you know. And it's just amazing how things have changed nowadays. It's like, it's not the way it was, like, you know, back a couple of years back when we met, you know, our partners, you know. Now it's like, oh, he didn't text back. He didn't check in. Oh, she didn't check in. Well, forget her then. I'm not, you know, men feel like we're not the only ones that's supposed to check in, you know, after a date.
I do remember going through that though. Like,
yeah.
Like, in my dating phases, like, you know, like I haven't heard
Jim text him back. Was Salmo the Great text him back like quick, or was he like, wait a minute, what's taking him so long?
Do you remember, babe?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to communicate with each other, so like it was pretty like. I mean, I just feel like, yeah, there wasn't. Sometimes, you know, Jessy's the type of person where she likes to do her own thing sometimes. So there were some times early on where like I would send her a message and like she wouldn't get back to me, and I'd be like, why isn't she texting me back? But she's like the type of person where if she doesn't feel like looking at her phone for several hours, like she just won't, you know, like she doesn't respond to that same kind of pressure. And so then she would get back to me and be like, you know, yeah, I wasn't looking at my phone, or like I didn't intentionally not text you back, you know. And so I think I probably went through that a little bit more than she did.
Tell me that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I remember when we first, oh my God, there's a big old fly. Oh, what is that? Okay. I remember when we first moved in together. I mean, we didn't really know each other. Like, let's be real. Like, we moved in, like I moved in with him. I didn't really know him like that. But one day I like ate dinner, and I just said it in conversation, like, yeah, I ate with Callie. Like, we went to this restaurant, and he got so furious because he felt like I was supposed to text him and let him know.
Not furious.
Yes, you got furious.
Not furious.
You were furious. You felt like I was supposed to text him and let him know, hey, I have dinner plans tonight. So if you're not, you know, so if you're hungry, go ahead and eat. And I was like, excuse you, like, I don't tell you what I'm eating. Like, if I want to eat, I'm going to eat. I don't need permission to eat. Tiny. I don't need permission to eat. But I realized, like, that was, like, one of the things that was, like, a cultural difference between Jim and I. You know, he came from a household where it's his mom and his dad and in the house, and you know, if she's preparing dinner, obviously dad is coming home for dinner. Like, where else he gonna eat? You know, so he's used to the family eating together. I mean, my dad and my mom were divorced by the time I was 8 years old, and I ate alone a lot of the times. Like like as a teenager. My mom wasn't even home yet when I ate. I was just so, and I still am sometimes to a fault, so independent, you know. So those are like
all earth signs. I think that, you know, that's got to do with earth signs too, because a lot of people complain, I don't get back to people. Sorry. I don't get back to people like soon enough. So people are like, man, if you text Rufta or call her, she's not going to get back to you. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm in a relationship, because I wouldn't have no man if I was single, because they probably would think I don't like them. You know, so I completely understand what you're saying, because I'm the same way. I don't text back, so he probably felt like, does this girl like me or not?
I mean, me and Ruth only had like 2 weeks to do that, and then she was moved in the house like the next.
So y'all were like us.
Yeah, instantly. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, to clarify about that one situation, I
he was not serious, okay?
I was hangry. I was hangry because I had like waited like 2 hours with like my stomach growling, because I wasn't I wasn't gonna eat without knowing like what her eating plans were. Like, so I wasn't operating from like a hasty place. So I literally was like starving, but I was being patient, because I was like, well, she hasn't hit me back, so she must still be in her writing session. Like, she's still working. So she's still at work. Like,
I was at the restaurant eating and drinking.
She was at the restaurant eating and drinking, and I was sitting over there with my stomach growling. And so I was like, so you mean to tell me like you didn't once look at your phone that whole time that you were sitting there at the restaurant? Like, and so that was more so where the frustration came from.
Did she at least bring some leftovers?
No,
What's that?
I always bring you food. Don't do that.
She bring you right overs. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Okay. What do you do when you want to impress your partner? Well, what do you do when you want to?
Okay, so as I said, like, we're in a long-term relationship, so there's no impressing.
Okay.
We see each other at our hot mess all the time. What I tried to do early on, I definitely tried to, impress my partner by like, oh, I have a gig tonight, you should come see me play, and then it'll be all my friends giving me love, and I was just like, yeah, I'm that guy, come on. But there's no impressing now. I just try to balance my responsibilities is all I really try to do. Try to, pay the bills and really just provide a stable and loving environment for my partner. And there's no impressing anymore. Like, that was funny when
done that last month.
They know too much.
They know way too much. I thought it was just, I heard Chrissy Teigen one time just talk about how like John Legend's singing does not impress her, and she's like over it and all that stuff.
So true.
Cracked me up because I was just
They're friends of mine, and I remember when it transitioned, because I was on tour with him at the time, and when she used to come to shows, she would like be in the audience singing every song, and like she was just like, and she still does think that he's like the most talented person on earth. But then after a while, she was just like, oh, I'm so John, why does John have to sing like that? Like, she was and like, but that was really funny to see her go from like being kind of like a fan of his in a sense to like seeing him as like superhuman.
Yeah, that's how it starts, Shit.
Mm-hmm. You're a fan of the person that you fall in love with. That's like definitely how you fall in love in the first place.
Yep. Yeah, that's how Bae fall in love with me, you know what I'm saying? She was impressed by the rapping skills, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
He got me. He had me then.
Now it's like, that nigga rapping again? Shit.
No, he's blind. I be screaming on top of my lungs.
Nah, she still supports.
Yes.
But shit, when I'm recording every night, it's like, hey, okay, can you spend time with me? I'm
Facts, though. Facts.
Yeah.
I had that balance.
Yes.
Definitely.
So what about you, Jess? How do you impress Salmo the Great? What do you do?
Think that I subconsciously try to impress him by
he's wanting to know.
I'm like by being like a superwoman in a sense. Like, but I'm always falling apart too. I'm like simultaneously always holding myself down, but then also like falling apart. So I'm sure I fail at that. I think that I kind of like relate to Will. Like I still feel it still feels good to like get dressed and go and be out and about, and like, you know, I try to make him, like, if we're like dating, you know, going out and being around people, I still try to make him feel like he's so lucky to be with me.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, that's what's up. Okay, what about you, Salmo the Great?
Yeah, I mean, I can really identify with what Will said as well. I mean, you know, once you've been with someone for 7 years, it's like even in those moments where you might impress that person, it's like you're both still painfully aware of like all your shortcomings and flaws. And so I feel like
Hey, Tiny.
Sorry. My dog sees another dog, and so he's like,
Hi, Tiny.
So dang, what was I saying? Oh yeah.
Painfully.
So like I feel like the longer you're in a relationship with someone, just the concept of like unconditional love, like you start to really understand it. You know, I don't think you can really understand it until you are like exercising love on the daily, you know, to someone who you're not like family with, you know, someone who you don't share blood with. It's like you don't get to decide your parents or your brothers and sisters and your aunts and uncles or your kids. You don't get to decide any of that. It's like they are who they are. And so like that unconditional love is like probably like a little more automatic. But then when you choose to love someone, it's like a choice. Like that's a daily choice. And so like I don't know if it's so much about impressing anymore. Like I don't know how to impress my wife. Like because as soon as I start to
Okay, how does
as soon as wait, hold on. As soon as I start to try to impress her, it backfires.
Right. I can relate.
I think that you impress me the most, like when I feel the most attraction to Jim when he's just like being his outgoing, smart, just deeply intuitive self. Like watching him around people, watching him in his genuine self, like his genuine nature, the way he connects with people, and the way he has like such an effect, and he leaves such an impression on people. And I watch them. I've literally watched him walk into a room, especially with us being an interracial couple. I've watched him walk into a room, you know, full of people, maybe full of Black people, who are looking at me like, what you doing with him? Mm-hmm. And then they start to talk to him, and then you just watch them sort of like, you know, take a step back, look at him up and down, like you see their minds start to change, like, yo, like this is a really cool dude.
Yeah.
And really like real. And
he's blushing right now.
He ain't blushing. But yeah, that's when you impress me, babe.
Well, thank you.
Any questions? You got any questions to ask them?
Yeah, I want to ask y'all a question. So, how is it living in the RV together, and what's the day to day of living in the RV and knowing that this is it right here, and then
all 250 square feet.
Yes, exactly.
But
Jen, you should answer that. I feel like Jen is more cynical than I am as an interviewee.
No, I mean all of them are great.
I love living in the RV. I like the way that we have had to really just like minimize everything. Like we only have the stuff here that we absolutely need, and so I feel like that's a really great lesson. I mean, you know, Roy helped me move, so he saw how much stuff we put into storage. So like, if we can live without all of that stuff, you know, like it's nice because we actually still do a lot of cleaning here.
Really?
But you know, it's not as much as you would have to do for, say, like, you know, I mean, the bigger the house, the bigger the space, the more cleaning there is to do. So I'm not really a fan of cleaning, Jessy will tell you. So the less that needs to be cleaned, the better. As far as like the small space, if it's nice, like today, I just spend as much time outside as I can. I feel like RV life is all about the outdoors. If you don't like the outdoors, you probably shouldn't live in an RV. You know, it's like it. And so I end up almost every night that I can, like, making a fire. Like I got my let's see, I got my fire pit right there.
Yes.
And so I'll probably build a fire here in a little bit and just sit by the fire, which is like way more meditative than sitting by Gallatin Avenue.
For real.
Country boy.
It's not out today too, so it's a perfect time to start working. Yes.
Might pull up, man.
Right.
Y'all come out tonight. Y'all could definitely pull through. Yeah, we definitely gonna be hanging out by the fire tonight. We don't have a grill, but I thought about like going to Home Depot today and getting a little tiny baby grill or a grate that goes over the fire pit. I don't know, but whatever we do, it's just so much fun. Like we have like such a cute little outdoor space, and
Y'all beside the water too, right?
Huh?
Y'all beside the water?
Yeah, we're by the lake. Yeah, and I mean, I never thought that I would be living in an RV, but I'm so glad that the idea came to us, and that like it's such a new experience. I'm from Brooklyn, like this is something that's like 100% new for me and like my whole entire family. We've had our families come visit us here, and just to see their faces light up and like for them to not know what to expect, and then when they see it, they're like, oh my God, I could do this. Like, this is so dope. Like, this is so fly. My aunt, she came in and she like jumped up and down and gave me a hug and was like, you're always introducing our family to something new.
Exactly. That's what it's about. And it's glamorous.
It is.
It's a glamorous.
It is not glamorous, I will tell you that. But I think that the way we're doing it is like the most, not the most, but on the spectrum, it's like on the glamorous side of how you know, how we can do. Like this lifestyle people got like some huge RVs that are beautiful out here. But RVs are not meant to like live in full time.
Right.
Exactly.
You do come across like a lot of like little things. Like the first cold night, it was 35 degrees. Like our furnace went out. We could not understand like why. Like, and it just so happened that, Jen, do you remember what it was called? Like a mud fly, something had built a nest like right in our furnace. So we had to have somebody come out, take it apart. I mean, little things, you know.
But you guys made it a home. It's, you know, it's really nice. The pictures I was looking at, I was like, oh my God, that's an RV, you know, because some people might have an RV and they don't put you know, like cute touch, you know, to it and make it comfortable, make it feel homey and stuff like that, you know?
Totally.
So, no.
I think it's smart, man. I think it's like the smartest thing you could do right now, because it's like y'all wanted to focus on your online business too, right?
Say that again.
Y'all wanted to focus on your online businesses as well, right?
Yeah, we're definitely trying to build, like, trying to become more like content centered. You know, it's not really, it's kind of hard, to be honest, because we're both like very much like in the moment people. And so like this idea of living, hey Bushka, this idea of like living to like, it's kind of like living in the future when you're like creating content. So it's an adjustment, but yes, that's our desire. We want to transition with the times, you know. We don't want to be left behind, and like we're such purists as artists that, you know, digital offerings of like your art is like sort of like off to us, because we both of us are such fans of like artists from the 60s and the 70s, and like, you know, they didn't have that. So we're both trying to like shift our perspectives and like put ourselves in the mentality of like sharing what we're doing on a digital platform, like in the moment, you know. But yes, to answer your question, yes.
Okay.
How many times?
So, Will, I have another. This one is the last question. We're going to wrap up after this one, you know. So you have 90 seconds. You're in the elevator with your hero. You have 90 seconds to tell them about yourself. What would you say?
Stop that.
I don't like talking about myself like that much.
What would you want to know?
From my hero,
Yeah.
I would definitely love to tell them how much they inspired me and how it was so important that they did what I did. You know, growing up, just relishing in my heroes, my musical heroes especially, that just show me that there's something more to this life than, as we were talking about earlier, the grind and just being busy and productive and just feeding the system, that you could be beautiful. Your childhood spirit and creativity, it doesn't have to be lost. And it was all of those artists that taught me that. So I mean, oh my gosh, just thinking about them, I would just definitely
Who's
tell
your
them that.
hero, or who's, you know, who are you inspired by?
So many people. I mean, growing up, definitely people like Freddie Mercury, Michael Jackson, Prince, rock stars, soul artists, definitely Nina Simone. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many people that they just chose to put themselves out there and express themselves and show their beautiful souls, and not just fall into the trap of I can't do this and I gotta just be working and busy and all that stuff. So I would let them know how much it meant to me that they express, especially as a kid, to learn that I could do that. So I'd say thank you. I mean, if they're interested, you know, check me out.
90 seconds. What would you tell them?
Just that I was so thankful for showing me that you can not lose that creative spirit, and you can and that you inspired me so much, and just thank you for that. And I hope I can do a fraction of what you did to me.
Okay, that's good.
Like that.
Yeah, I like that. What about you, Jessy?
90 seconds with my hero. I think I would say three things. Like he said, thank you. Then I would say, what's your deepest fear as it pertains to your art and your creativity? Do you even think that you can sing? What do you think about your voice? What do you think about your writing? I would want to know that. And then the third thing I would want to do is sing with them. Like, let's just hit a little note. My heroes are no longer living. So
Yes, who are your heroes?
Aretha Franklin, Nina Simone, those were, I mean, Lauryn Hill was a big one growing up for me, so she's still alive. And most recently, honestly, like a young person up here that I still look up to is Brittany Howard. So like she's still alive, and we're actually Instagram friends. Like we be in each other's DMs. So I mean, maybe one day her and I can like share that
ultimate collab right there.
Come on,
that space together.
Out there. Put it out there.
Universe.
Absolutely. I've been putting it out there too. Anybody that knows, that mostly the people that tour with me, like last year I had this thing like, I'm wheeling her in. She's coming in. She's coming.
Hey girl.
And it really did. It really started happening. Like, and it has happened. Like she follows our Megan McFarlane RV page. Like she's definitely in orbit for sure.
Yeah. Hey, if you drop a cover on your post on IG Colors, if you do a cover of Colors, that's the song she asked, right? Alabama Shakes.
Oh yeah.
Which one? Oh.
Yeah.
Astounding Color?
Yes. If you drop a cover, we'll all tag her.
She follows me. She sees my page.
Okay.
Like, the first time that she started following me when I was on tour with Gary Clark Jr. and I had this video of me on stage, like kind of going crazy. Like that's when she started following me, and like she dropped like fire emojis.
Okay.
Nice.
That's what's up.
It's in the making already, man. You know, that's one thing that you inspire me about is, like, I remember one time when we was doing the electric feng shui, you were like, you guys should bring this girl named Lizzo. And she was not big. When, like, back then, I mean, she was in a process. She blew up like right after it, but she was not as big. And I was like, who's Lizzo? And we looked her up. You showed us. I'm like, is Jessy crazy? How are we gonna be able to bring this girl? And then just not long after, she blew up. And I just kind of get inspired when you kind of give me advices like that, because some things we feel like it's unreachable, but we just need to put it out there. We never know how we can connect with somebody. You know, we just kind of write ourselves off. And I really appreciate you for, kind of snapping me out of it, because it didn't meant to be like that. Like, seriously, that really inspires me, because when we saw her, we're like, what? That's Lizzo. What is she talking about? How are we going to bring her to our electric feng shui, our little electric feng shui? But you know what? It's all about just putting it out there and claim it, and it'll happen, man. It'll happen,
Sure.
Yeah. So what about you, Salmo the Great? You're in the elevator for 90 seconds with your hero. What would you tell them about yourself? And who's your hero?
Okay, if I had 90 seconds on the elevator with Jessy Wilson, I probably would see she had plans for the night.
Good number, girl.
It's so cute.
That's smooth right there.
Really smooth. That's real Salmo-like.
Thank you. Oh, I like that. Salmo-like. I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks for plugging the brand so much, Rufta. I appreciate you. And thank you for all the support, by the way. I wanted to chime in earlier. Thank you for always showing so much love. Listen, I got so many. Earlier I said I have 0 role models as of right now, but I got so many heroes. Those are two different things. And like, I feel like probably I have 2 primary heroes musically, creatively. So we'll just leave it at that for right now. Probably my 2 greatest musical heroes would be Bob Dylan and Kanye West.
I agree with the Kanye.
If I had 90 seconds, say what?
I agree with the Kanye. That's my hero, bro. That's like, he's definitely up there.
Like musically, conceptually, artistically, like
that's who he is.
Part none.
Creative.
But if I had 90 seconds on the elevator with Bob Dylan, if I had 90 seconds on the elevator with Kanye West, I wouldn't know what he thinks about Dylan.
That's good, Bugs.
That's good.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that was good.
Like
Yo, if Jim and Kanye West had
Kanye,
a
I was thinking that.
conversation,
Yes.
that'd be a really good conversation.
I'm trying to be his vice president. No, I'm just playing.
That'd be a great conversation, bro.
No, I think so. I mean, you know, when he mentioned Kanye West, I was like, man, that would have been a dope ass like just meeting right there. That 90 seconds would have probably stretched. You know, I really feel like y'all would have.
I definitely can't think Kanye West would be like, who's that guy?
yeah, for sure.
He got a cool style.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I probably would be wearing his shoes.
Yeah.
At the moment we met.
Conversation starter.
Yeah.
That would have been, that would have been a conversation starter.
I mean, look, there go two of them right there.
Evidence.
Yep. Yeah, no. I think y'all would have connected very well. And, you know, we're going to put that out there too, man. Hey, you never might meet him in the elevator for 90 seconds. So,
listen. Listen, it may not be an elevator, but me and Jessy are going, we're going to take our RV out to Wyoming and just pull up on it.
Hell yeah. Yes. You should. He accept him, you know, Father stretch his hands, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, definitely. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us today. We had so much fun, man.
Thank you for having us. This is fun.
Thank you for putting up with us. You know, like we said, this is our first virtual podcast today.
A pilot episode.
Yes. So
nice.
We had so much fun. This episode was very fun. We had a really good group, you know, to conversate with. We touched on a lot of different things. So we hope to have you guys next time on First Let's Talk About It.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us. Thank you guys so much for having us.
For real.
So much.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome to get to talk to you as well.
Definitely.
Okay, guys. So we'll see you guys soon.
See you soon.
All right, we're gonna drop the Addy. Y'all send us your ETA.
All right, bet.
Okay, go ahead, do that.
We'll bring the marshmallows, you know, s'mores and shit.
Guys, bye. Love y'all.